What's up, geometry scholars? In today's class, we're going to be creating visual representations of the different angle relationships we've been exploring in class. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is go into Google Classroom. We need to find a photo of yourself and maybe a buddy, and we need to download these appropriately. So I've got a few already queued up. I'm going to download Brian, and to do this, we're going to click on the three vertical dots in the upper right-hand corner and then select Download. And then we're going to grab Eli, download, and then once again, we're going to grab Amanda, the three vertical dots, and then download. So with these images downloaded, let's review some of the fundamentals of Photoshop. To open images in Photoshop, we're going to select File and then Open. And then we're going to make sure that we're in the Downloads folder. And I see Amanda, I see Bryant, and I see Eli. All right, great. And so now at the top of the screen, I see tabs, kind of like in Google Chrome. And what we're going to do is explore how the layers palette influences what we see on the canvas itself. So I'm simply clicking and dragging, and we're almost done. All right, so I no longer see Amanda nor Bryant, but I know they're there. Before we go any further, I'm going to press Command T to change the size of the layer. So if you press Command T and then hold Shift to grab a corner, that keeps it proportional. Tremendous. And I'm going to press Check to confirm. I'm going to grab Bryant, make it a little bit smaller. Nice. And then here we've got, of course, Amanda. She's in the back. We're going to press Command T, hold Shift, shrink it down just a tad, and we're going to press Check. Great. So what do I know? I know that if Eli is in top in the canvas, then he's in the top in the layers palette. This is a layers palette right here. I see we've got the background layer and these three images. If I grab Eli and I drag him beneath Bryant and Amanda, he's gone. He's actually still there. In fact, if we shift these layers over, we can see he's still there. But the sequence of the images in the layers palette influences what we see in the canvas. So now Amanda's above both Brian and Eli, and she is in the canvas, in the layers palette as well. Great. So now that we understand that, what's next? Well, what we're going to need to do is create selections of your individuals using something called the Magnetic Lasso. And I'm going to press Command plus to zoom in, and we're going to start with this blank template right here for a linear pair relationship. So how do we do that? The first thing that we're going to need to do is make sure we're on the right image, and I know that on the left side of the screen there's lots of buttons, can be intimidating, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this first button right here, this very top lasso tool. It's a selection tool. I'm going to go very quickly sort of around the perimeter of Eli's body. I'm going to seal it up, and I can see that there's these little ants running across. That indicates there's a selection made. If we press Command C, and then I can see blank linear pair. I'm going to press Command V, and there's Eli. But I don't love this selection. We want to get something a little bit more precise, but this is a good start. How would we go about doing that? Well, I'm going to press Command D to deselect. And now, because these tools are context sensitive, what I'm going to do is right click, and instead of the lasso tool or the polygonal lasso, I'm going to select the magnetic lasso. And the magnetic lasso is a cool selection tool because it clings to high contrast objects. So what I did was I clicked once, and now I'm just taking this mouse right along the edge of his body, his ear, his head, and I can see that it's doing a pretty decent job. And you guys are going to do a far better job. I'm going to seal it up like so. But I can notice something. I didn't get all of his hair. So what we're going to do is in the very top of the upper left hand corner of Photoshop, we've got a couple little buttons that we can press, including the Add to Selection. So what we're going to do is we're going to add to this selection. So when that's checked or toggled or clicked, what we can do is simply go back. We've got the selection. Tremendous. I'm going to press Command C to copy. And I'm going to return to this linear pair template, and we're going to press Command V. And when we press Command V and then use this Move tool, this top tool is called the Move tool. That's the last big tool that we're going to be using today. I can see that we can shift Eli anywhere around on this canvas. What I want to do is I want him behind the linear pair in this line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag him beneath where it says linear pair, and I can see that, but we're not done yet. I'm going to drag him down a little bit further. I can see he's now beneath this line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag him beneath where it says right, this right layer right here, and to the left of this layer there's a little eye that indicates visibility. I'm going to uncheck it, and that means that if there's no eye, you can't see it. If the eye is there, you can see this layer. We're going to hide this layer, and we're going to drag Eli one layer further. So there we go. It's beneath the bottom layer, right? So I can see that if we hide the bottom layer for a moment, we can see that we can see right through it. But all we want is the right layer toggled off, clicked off. Let's grab one more person. Let's grab Amanda. We're going to use the Magnetic Lasso. And I'm going to go super quickly. You guys are going to do a much better job because you have the luxury of time. And if you want to put down what's called a bounding box, that just sort of indicates where the selection is, you can left click. And you might want to do it if there's lots of details like there are right here for her fingers. Alright, this is not an amazing selection. Amanda, I am sorry, but when we get to the beginning, then we press Command C, and we go to linear pair, press Command V. Now all of a sudden, I don't see her, but I know if I drag her to the top of this layers palette, there she is, she's above everything. But what we're going to do is drag her so she's beneath the bottom layer, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click the eye on the left layer, and I can see there she is. She's a little big. I'm going to press Command T. I'm going to hold Shift, grab the corner. Great, and so we can sort of shift it any way we want it, and I can see that her left arm is bleeding over onto this side of the angle. If you press E, you can erase it like that. I used the eraser tool. Boom. Alternatively, simply press E to pull up that tool. You should be good to go. Finally, it says we are something. Well, we know that they are supplementary, so I'm going to click on this little line right here, and you guys are going to indicate whether they're supplementary, congruent, complementary, depending on what the context of this template is. We've got a few other ones. This blank corresponding template, it's a little bit of a challenge. You're going to do this last. I am, however, confident that you'll have success. If I click on the very bottom layer where it says green circles, and I can drag it to the top, I can see that there's circles there indicating the specific layers. I'm going to drag it back to the bottom, and I can see that if I click on let's see, bottom left, and let's do top right. Boom. These of course would be alternate exterior angles. You guys are going to find complementary angles. You guys are going to pop yourselves into these really cool templates. When you're done to submit your work, we're going to save these as JPEG. So you're going to click File. We're going to do Save As. And I can see that it's a Photoshop file. We're going to change this to a JPEG. And instead of blank, you're going to write your name. So I'll simply write Rose. You would write Eli, Amanda, or whatever your name is, linear pair, and then click Save. And then, okay, then you'll go back into Google Classroom. You will upload this in the assignment folder. I'm super excited about seeing your work. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.